Shakeups are happening behind the scenes in preparation for the next generation of video games, with Sony making some major shifts in management just ahead of the PlayStation 5's reveal. They also claim that they're aiming to have their user base transition from PS4 to PS5 much faster than any previous generation. Half-baked remorse sets in as Blizzard issues an apology over the Blitzchung Hong Kong fiasco, and is Valve integrating a cloud service with Steam? I'm still exhausted after Extra Life, and all will be explained in this week's edition of The Rundown. Earlier this month, tensions reached an all-time high as Blizzard CEO J. Allen Brack took to the stage during BlizzCon to address the issue of the Hearthstone and Hong Kong controversy. Brack issued an apology for a number of reasons, including their failure to bring people together during a critical Hearthstone moment, their rushed decision-making during the incident, that they were too slow to communicate with the audience afterwards, and that they didn't live up to the high standards they set for themselves. He went on to state that going forward, they will do better and that their actions as a studio will mean more than just his words. He also talked about what Blizzard's purpose was, such as bringing people together, creating common ground, and joining countries together. If I can be real for just a moment, this entire apology reads as, yes, we screwed up and we'll be sure to tell you about our decision sooner going forward, but we stand by our decision and our policy won't change. I gotta say, that just sounds like fluff, a hollow apology. He said nothing about the policy of banning people such as Blitzchung, whose intent was to fight for freedoms in his country, and banning anyone that supported him and were vocal about it. And based on some reports, the protesters that were at the event also didn't fall for it. Of course, the minute they showed off Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2, it was all like this didn't happen, perhaps showing just how hollow gamers' beliefs are when a franchise they like is part of the discussion. Late this week, Sony made some major management changes with the announcement that Guerrilla Games boss Herman Hulst, known for his work on Horizon Zero Dawn and his work with Hideo Kojima on the now-released Death Stranding, will now be heading up PlayStation Worldwide Studios, taking over from Sean Layden, who left the company last month for reasons yet to be revealed. This news comes in just after Shuhei Yoshida announced his new role in assisting indie game development for PlayStation going forward. Both will be reporting to the new PlayStation CEO, Jim Ryan, who was former head of PlayStation Europe. Hulst will be overseeing all of PlayStation's 15 studios, including Santa Monica, Naughty Dog, and more. A lot of people are seeing this as Sony being in some sort of trouble, which will be rather strange for a company that holds two of the highest selling consoles of all time and owns some of the most well-regarded franchises of all time. So why all these management changes? Well, let's put things into perspective for a moment. There's all this talk about new technology, SSDs, and their future applications, and Sony buying of trademarks for the future. Figured it out yet? It's the PlayStation 5. I speculate that Sony is looking to step into the next generation with a fresh start, and new faces taking charge. This isn't necessarily a good or bad thing, as that will depend on where things go once the next generation of consoles take off next year. But we can hope that Sony has learned some valuable lessons, particularly in cross-platform play going forward. On the topic of PlayStation 5, also this week, PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan told GI.biz about their ambition to help users transition over to the PlayStation 5. He states that they want to move players over to the next generation at a scale and pace that they've never done before. He also talked a bit about the positive response they've had from developers about getting their games up and running on the new hardware, and that the experience they've had in doing so is far beyond anything they've had on any previous generation of PlayStation hardware. This one left me speculating exactly what he meant by getting users to transition over sooner. I came up with a few methods that could make sense in doing so. One could be an upgrade program similar to what GameStop has done in the past, where people can trade in their current hardware and get the new hardware at a discount. It would have to be a program run by Sony themselves, of course. Another method I thought about was the program that Microsoft is currently running for Xbox One, where individuals can essentially finance a console and pay it off in installments on a monthly basis. Microsoft has something similar to this running for their next generation hardware, which they've dubbed Project Scarlet for now. Lastly, I could see them doing something similar to what Ubisoft did at the start of this generation with Assassin's Creed Black Flag, allowing owners of the PlayStation 3 version the ability to put the disc in their brand new PlayStation 4 and upgrade to the PlayStation 4 version for only $10. In our final bit of news this week, Valve may be looking to throw their hat into the cloud gaming arena, as Steam Database's Twitter account revealed code that relates to something called Steam Cloud Gaming and a partner site code update. This comes in relatively close to the launch of Stadia, which is now less than 2 weeks away, and with the xCloud beta currently underway. This wouldn't be the first time that Steam has experimented with cloud services such as Steam Cloud, which allows for saves to be downloaded and transferred between devices. While this isn't an official confirmation that they'll be getting into cloud gaming, it would make a lot of sense for Valve to dip its toes into the water for cloud gaming and would even give them a leg up on the competition. If true, this would be an interesting shakeup in the cloud gaming arena and would most certainly give Valve a leg up on the competition over something like Stadia, as they could potentially just open the doors for users to have their existing library be available for streaming over the cloud, instead of having to purchase a separate cloud-ready library. This would also give xCloud some competition if they somehow manage to avoid requiring a subscription fee. Competition is a good thing, but we might also be looking at another situation where there are too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. Similar to the everybody has a launcher problem that is currently taking over the PC landscape, and it's only looking to get bigger as there's another contender looking to enter the race that I can't talk about at this time. And that brings us to the end of yet another edition of The Rundown. The next generation of video games is sure to be an interesting one, with cloud gaming platforms gearing up and new hardware on the way. I imagine this will be the generation to see just how viable cloud gaming solutions are for all parties involved, and the make or break situation for gamers to decide if they're okay with playing games in the cloud, or if the quality is even up to snuff. But that's all from me this week. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful and informative, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for notifications each time a new video hits. As always, you can follow me on Twitter and join the Korrupt Assassins community on Discord, which you can find links to in the description, as well as sources to all the news covered in this week's video. As always, it's Kurt Ronan telling you to stay sharp, Assassins, and I'll see you next time.